Hello and welcome to Overanalyze. My name is Liv and today I'll be covering District 24A. Teams in this district we have Hampshire, Fanet, Hardin Jefferson, Hargrave, Liberty, Livingston, and Splendora. Movement in this district, it's Old District 21, and Shepherd, who was in this district's last alignment, moves to District 23-3A. We covered them a while ago. A pretty good district. Location of this district, we are kind of between Beaumont and Houston, kind of. Some are closer to I-10, kind of down south. Some are further north. But from east to west, it's pretty much in between Houston and Beaumont. Getting into it, we have Hardin Jefferson. They were 1 point away from being the state champion of 4A. Well, kind of. I mean, they hit a 3 at the buzzer of the state championship game to make it a 1 point game. They were down by 4 with 8 seconds left. So, but anyways, it was a 1 point game. They lost in the championship to Brownsboro. It was an extremely contested and very close game. Despite Hardin Jefferson's relatively poor shooting night, they did put up 54 shots, which is insane. Volume shooting, and they almost got it. It was again extremely contested game. 13 lead changes, 8 ties. This is all according to the box score on the UIL website. I guess I trust them. It was just reading the play-by-play on a simple text thing in that extremely small print. Even that sounded like an extremely exciting game. I really wish I would have watched that. But anyways, Hardin Jefferson, even to get to the Brownsboro game, they had to upset Argyle, and their perfect season, their bid for a perfect season, was ended by Hardin Jefferson 49-42 7-point game. Argyle, they were just coming off of that scare against Canyon, that 1 point game in the, well no, actually that was in the regional semis. They beat Decatur pretty handedly, but Hardin Jefferson beat Argyle in their undefeated record, 37-0 I think. They also had one of the highest powered offenses in the entire state, especially towards the end. Insane. They were on the winning end of the highest scoring game in the playoffs. I covered that yesterday. They beat Silsbee 106-63. That's just insane. How does one even score that many points? I don't know. I've never been a part of that. They scored 100 points twice in the playoffs. That game and the Orangefield game in by district, they won 101-33. Strangely enough, after they beat Silsbee, they played La Vega, who again is another high-powered, just fast-paced, fun offense, who was coming off of a 90-point game against Palestine. And yet it was pretty low scoring, only 42 points, 142 points, which, I mean, it's not 142 points, it's 122 points, sorry. Which is, I guess, in one of the upper percentiles, but it's pretty low considering that Hardin Jefferson and La Vega, who are just two just high octane offenses, they only score 122 total points. Hardin Jefferson won that one by 16. They really didn't have any close games this playoff run until Argyle, that 7-point game. They had by far the best point differential this playoffs. I mean, they only lost by 1, but they won by 68. They won by 68. They won by 76. They won by 43. They won by 16. They won by 25, and then won by 7, and they only lost by 1. So that's like, I don't know. I don't have actually. I do have the math. I was looking at this earlier. They had a point differential of plus 220 in 7 games, including one that they lost. that's just insane to think about. Where am I? Right there. Anyways, enough about them and their playoff points. And on to their regular season, they scored 100 points 3 times in their last regular season games, and in the other ones they scored, I think, 90 points in 3 of the other ones. Again, just absolutely insane. They only had a few losses this year. Some no names. No, I'm just kidding. They lost to Duncanville, Plano, Summer Creek. If you don't know, Duncanville is the second best team in the country. Second best team in the state. They're ranked in the country. They're only behind DeSoto, who is somehow even better. And yet they happen to be just a couple miles apart from each other, and they're in the same district. Duncanville, second best team in the state, regardless of classification, although they are 6A. Plano, a perennial playoff 6A team, who lost an area, but I mean, Region 1 6A is absolutely stacked. We'll cover that later. They lost to Summer Creek. If you don't know, that's a Region 4 6A. No, Region 3 6A. Made it all the way to state. So I mean, those were really their only losses this year, which is that's cool. They had some impressive wins. Not necessarily against state-making teams that made state, but much larger schools. They beat Houston Memorial, who is a playoff 6A team. They beat Red Oak, who made a deep run in this year's playoffs. They were ranked pretty highly in 5A most of the year. In 2A, again, just 2A is insane. They made it to the regional semifinals. Austin High, which I believe is 5A, no, 6A. Or are they? They made it to regional quarterfinals. 6A, San Antonio Wagner, a really good 6A team. Huntsville, who is a playoff 5A team. Cedar Hill, who is in probably the most insane district in the state. They're in the district with Duncanville, DeSoto, Mansfield, Lake Ridge. Lake Ridge. Needless to say, Hardin-Jefferson had an amazing year this year. They were just again, only 1 point away. I could go on and on for hours about Hardin-Jefferson and their year this year. I'm probably already 6 minutes in. I haven't looked, but I've been talking about them for a long time. They have 11 players upload the roster and 2 seniors, and actually in that they have some serious minutes coming back in. They have some serious minutes coming back in this next year. Some bench players, but then also some strong starters who played almost the entire game in the state games. Anyways, on to the next team. We have other teams to cover. Hargrave, they got second, lost in the regional quarters to Little Cypress Mauriceville. They went 10-2 in district. Who did they beat? They beat Lumberton and Royal. They went 10-2. Liberty was the only game under 10 points. Although I think Livingston had an 11-point game. They have 11 players upload the roster and 4 seniors. So we have Livingston got third, lost in by district to Little Cypress Mauriceville. It says they went 3-4, so that means they're missing 5 games. They're missing both Liberty games, 1 Splendora game, 1 Hampshire Finette game, and 1 Shepherd game. They beat Shepherd by 5, Hampshire Finette by 1, I believe, and Splendora was pretty handedly. And then they finished above Liberty, which would make me assume that they beat them at least once. Liberty doesn't have all that many games either. So I would assume that they beat Hampshire Finette and split with Liberty. That would mean that they still got third, undisputed third. Undisputed third. Anyways, they have 10 players, uploaded roster, and 1 senior. Next we have Liberty, got 4th, lost in by district to Silsby. It's fine. I mean, Silsby kind of rolled over a lot of people. It says they went 1-5. They split with Hampshire Fennet by I can't remember the scores exactly. Actually, I have them right here. They beat them by 3, lost to them by 10, so pretty contested. They're missing both Livingston games, both Shepherd games, and both Splendora games. Say they beat Shepherd and both. Let's say they swept Shepherd and Splendora, and then split with Livingston. That would put them at 6-6. Livingston, if they split with Liberty, would put them at 7-5. Hampshire Fennet would be 5-7, which would all make sense. Considering that Livingston, Liberty, and Hampshire Fennet got 3rd, 4th, and 5th respectively. They have 14 players upload roster and 1 senior, missing 7 grad years. So of the 7 that are there, 1 of them is a senior. Next, you have Hampshire Fennet. They got 5th, I believe. It says 5-6. They are missing Livingston game again. With my theory, they went 5-7. Probably both games extremely close against Livingston. They did lose by 1. That 1 game that is in there. Let's see. They split with Liberty. They have 9 players upload roster and no seniors, so things are looking good for them. Final predictions time. I have Hardin Jefferson at 10-0, Hargrave at 8-2, Livingston at 5-5, Hampshire Fennet at 5-5, Liberty at 2-10, and Splendora at Liberty at 2-8, Splendora at 0-10. Split between Livingston and Hampshire Fennet. I think Liberty might be pretty close against both of those. I think Hargrave might have some pretty close games in here, but I do think that it's all going to kind of spread itself out a little bit with a split there between 3 and 4. Hampshire Fennet mixed playoffs this year. Maybe even gets 3rd, which would be pretty cool. That's all I have for District 24A. Tomorrow's going to be District 21. Booze in District 21. Oh, it's the Houston schools. Houston Worthing, Houston. Who were the other? Kashmir, Washington, yeah. Washington, Yates. So it's going to be a pretty good district. Make sure you watch that video tomorrow. And as always, until next time, thanks for watching.